Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. We are covering episode 3 of Succession, season 4, now out on HBO Max. This was a dramatic episode. I have so many thoughts, but Akram, I know you just got out of watching it, so I want to hear your initial thoughts.
Guys, this will be spoiler-filled as per episode we're reviewing. Let's get right to it. The king himself has died. Logan Roy, rest in peace. Wow, my goodness, I did not expect that. I thought it was a joke at first. And this episode was beautifully shot to keep you in the tension and the sadness of the kids and everyone else. It's going to be frantic coming soon, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, my first thoughts was, remember that scene in Under the Red Hood when Robin's like, this is going to be the best day ever. And then you just die.
Yeah, that's my goodness.
Well, the funny thing is this episode is titled Connor's Wedding. So you think it's going to be a Connor-centric episode, right? Everybody's having a good time. It's happy. But if we know anything from HBO, they love to have a death at a wedding, right?
Yeah.
So it was a very heavy episode. And it kind of is truthful in a way because death is very random and it comes unexpectedly. So we don't really have a chance to prepare for it. And the siblings definitely don't have time to prepare for it, right? And the last couple episodes was basically them just shitting on their dad. So it kind of made that whole situation even awkward because there's so much guilt and so much regret and so many emotions just running through this whole episode. And you feel like you're a part of that in a way. Like even, these are just characters. You feel like you're in the room with the siblings and you just want to see, if Logan's okay, despite the fact that he's a piece of shit dad, right? He's still their father at the end of the day and they still have this innate love for him. So it was so tragic to watch on screen.
It really was. It was interesting because I think Roman had not the last word, but in a way he sent a voice message, right? And so I really am starting to wonder what was the cause of Logan's death. My money is on Carrie. I got a feeling that they're hiding something and it might be that Carrie is pregnant. And she announced that she's pregnant to Logan because you remember in season 3, he was trying apparently or something like that. I got a feeling that like sparked something in him and he died. And I don't know if that's, I don't know the legalese. I don't know if like maybe through inheritance or something because that's the youngest. I have no idea if this guy completely went back on everybody and wrote something down in in a thing. But it was really interesting to see Connor's reaction out of everyone else's because I think this was a foreshadowing of how Connor would react in the last episode. And he probably has issues. Yeah, he's probably like a little cuckoo in a nest. But what's interesting is that he relies so much on Willa. I really feel sorry for him. And I actually really feel sorry for Roman because Roman was in denial. Kendall, in a way, is a complex one because he started this whole fight, really, kind of in a way, right? And Siobhan was in the same boat, kind of like Roman. They're always really close. So it's interesting to see how each one has their interpretation of grief, especially in modern times too. Because this is exactly like, this is realistic. People lose people and they'll get notified through the phone, Exactly. And so it was really interesting how this was such a diversion too in this episode. Because again, I thought it was going to dive into Connor's love for Willa and it was going to be that dynamic and Roman was going to do stuff in the background. But this was actually a more of a deep dive into just the grief finally, and it was ballsy. Let me tell you, this was such a Godfather / Last of Us Part 2 move where you kill off sort of the main antagonist, but one of the greatest characters in the show. You kill him off like that, and it's like, my goodness, the weeks to come, it's going to be frantic. It really will be.
I was so surprised because I even mentioned in our last review that maybe we could see Logan passing away. Yeah. So when I saw it unfolding, I was like, oh, fuck, did I call it? It's just like, you feel so ill-prepared for it, right? I mean, death is like one of those things, like it's a natural thing, but it leaves you so, ruined, right? Because you don't expect it, right? And you don't want it to happen, but it's inevitable, right? And I mean, I'm just thinking now, like what happened with Lance Reddick right before John Wick 4 release, right? Like who could have predicted that, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely feel bad for Connor because this is supposed to be like his big day. But at the same time, I'm thinking like it's crazy because Logan always like steals the spotlight
Yes.
from everybody.
Yeah.
And even in death, he still steals the spotlight,
Yeah.
right? This is Connor's big day of all days that he decided to die. Well, he didn't decide, but, just fate happened, right?
He decided to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that right there. He's like,
just to get back at him.
Fuck it. But it's crazy. And yeah, like the thing with Roman, like the last words that he left on the voicemail. And the crazy thing is we don't even know if Logan heard that too. And it kind of like fills you with so much regret and kind of self-hate, right? Because it's like, well, now, he was a piece of shit, but now I'm a piece of shit for, saying these things, right? And yeah, Kendall, I mean, maybe for Kendall, there's a bit of relief as well as sadness.
True.
Because at the same time, his dad was like the biggest obstacle and the biggest burden in his life because he had so much power over him.
Right.
So maybe there's a bit of, I don't know, self-freedom in a way.
Yeah.
And Siobhan, I think like Siobhan is hurting the most because I think she had probably the closest relationship with her dad, even if it was one-sided, right? I think she really felt something for her dad and she kind of looked past his flaws. Maybe the recent events kind of changed her perspective on Logan, but at the end of the day, he's still her father, right?
Yeah, daddy's girl, yeah.
Exactly. And Connor, he's the oldest son and he was the last to know. I thought that was so, sad to see that. And I like the whole event that's transpiring. They're on this boat and it's in a way kind of like a metaphor for like they're being isolated and they're being further away from their dad as they're drifting away from land too. I don't know, it's just crazy. Like his actual kids weren't there, right? In that moment to be there. It had to be like his employees, right? Even his son-in-law is like not really his family, right? I think it was just so crazy.
Well, also parallels to the first episode, I think, the way how it was handled, except maybe he would have had a fighting chance if he was on ground or in a helicopter, but it was an airplane. So, of course, that's realistic. Call me crazy, but I'm kind of gonna make a parallel here. Connor reminds me of the people at Hello Tomorrow. We just finished that review. Check it out if you guys want to check it out. Right? Ignorance is bliss. Yes. Right. And he chose to be happy. Everything's not going his way. So this time he just chooses to be happy and ignorant. And I really loved that discussion that he had with Willa. She's like in it kind of for the money. But I don't know. There's something sweet about her. I don't really know. I think she kind of warmed up to him. And so she was really honest. I mean, we could all, it's realistic. Yeah, she's with him for the money. But I think there's something else there. The way how she explained it and she played with him and they both chuckled. I think she was being sincere. In a way, I think if she wasn't being sincere, she would like roll her eyes because we've seen that before. I think this time
at least she was transparent about,
Right. And he was fine. Again, ignorance is bliss. Right. Now, moving forward to I wanted to ask you what you thought about the cinematography, because for me, this felt like a single take, like play sort of. And I think that enhanced the grief and tension. So what did you think about the cinematography here?
Yeah, when I watched the after commentary and Jesse Armstrong was, talking about like the filming of this episode, it was kind of crazy how they did it. He described it as like this kind of staged play in a way. And it feels like a very like high point in this series. It's kind of like the climax of this drama, right? This very Shakespearean drama. And it's like, it was so in your face and so personal. I love when like they showed like over the shoulder shots of like Kendall or Roman like holding the phone, because like I said, it feels like you're there in that episode and you want to be as close as possible, like listening to like Tom and Carl and Frank, giving updates on what's happening with Logan. And it's like there's all these different parts of the boat. It's a very closed space, but there's so many different rooms and you see like different points of view. We even see like shots of Greg and Connor and Tom. It's like these two different locations. It's a boat and a plane, right?
Right.
I think that was so interesting. And they're very closed spaces, but yet at the same time, they're very, I don't know, there's a weird tension and a weird space in those moments. And I love like just the interpersonal play that they put in it.
Yeah, I'm still shocked. I honestly still am. I really did think that they were playing, and I think they put us in the shoes of these characters as well. The way how they filmed it, and also how the phone cut off. Right, it wasn't the clearest audio, and we were all trying to figure out what's going on. Is this guy playing? I thought he was gonna say like "fuck off," haha.
Right, because you think that's a Logan move, right? Especially now, it's so sensitive with this whole Mattsson deal going on. You think maybe like Logan was trying to keep the kids out of it because he didn't want them to fuck up like they did with the Pierce deal. So there's kind of like this weird like thing in the back of your mind, like, is this a prank? Is this not a prank? And I was like, did Logan get everybody in on it? But I was at the same time, I was trying to pay attention to the other characters around Logan, because maybe like if you saw them laughing or some shit, you think it's like a prank. But if they look serious and it looks dire, then you're like, oh shit, this is for real, right? And honestly, I don't think they could have weaseled their way out of this, because they kind of did it in season 1 where they played the trauma card of Logan already hospitalized. So if they did it again in this season, right, it has to be the last time that they do that, because it's like, oh, are you gonna do that for the final season?
You know who I felt bad for too? Just wanted to point that out there. I felt bad for Greg. Greg was the one that killed Logan. He's like, oh, he's like, he died. That's the killer right there. He's like,
shit. Suspect number 1.
gonna tell my grandfather.
Shit. You think your uncle's gonna make it?
Speaking of family, let's talk about the interesting reactions that we might see. I want to see Marsha's reaction. I think that's going to be really interesting, and I also want to see the mother's reaction. Who do you like? What do you think the reactions will be from certain characters?
The interesting thing about Logan is, though, even though he's kind of made so many enemies in a way, there's still kind of this utmost respect for him, because he's such a powerful figure, right? And it's crazy because you're not just dealing with the death of a father, you're dealing with the collapse of an empire, basically. Yeah. So there's so many reactions that they're going to be facing. I kind of wonder, like Marsha, like what's her stake in his brother, right? Greg's grandfather.
Yeah.
Because there's so much hate between them, but I wonder if like this changes like kind of how he sees like the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe like, I don't know, it just kind of shows their true character, right? Right. Yeah. When you have the death of a loved one, it kind of just shows you like, who you are as a person, right? If you can look past that, or if you're still holding a grudge in a way. So I'm really interested to see like, how they react to this. But what do you predict will happen?
Well, yeah, I mean, what you said exactly, like Kendall said, I don't forgive you too. That was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, we have Sandy and Stewie. We have there's so many people. Mattsson. I wonder if he's gonna kind of be relieved in a sense. Like that we saw in the trailer. That he was saying like the brand is bad, but the parts are good. So let's swap the brand. So I wonder if this is going to be better for him. I also wonder about Adrian Brody's character. I wonder if he's going to show up later on in the season as well. I wonder if they're going to bring everybody involved. And I hope Rava is supportive, because I saw in the trailer she doesn't seem very supportive of Kendall.
Or even Logan's wife too, right? The mom. I wonder what her
reaction
would
right.
be. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then especially we might see an interaction between Siobhan and the mom, because she kind of thought it was the mom. She kind of hoped it was in a way. So yeah, it might be a little bit rocky there with some scenes. But yeah, I mean, this was a wonderful, wonderful episode. What is your prediction for coming soon?
So now let's get the elephant in the room. Who's gonna wear the crown, right? I think that's what's everyone's mind right now, because it seems like there's kind of a split between the old regime and the new regime, right? You have Frank, Jerry, and Carl, right? They're kind of like the lieutenants, right? But it seems like they want to keep everything close to them as possible, and keep the kids out, as we saw like in that kind of teaser trailer. It's like they don't think the kids are qualified, and they think Tom's like a joke. So anybody that's like immediately close to Logan, I think they want to isolate that power from them. The kids themselves, it seems like they still want to do their own thing, but in a way like uphold their father's legacy in a way. It looked like Roman in a lot of scenes was like like at ATN, like running shit. So I wonder if like the board will probably promote him as the CEO or something. I don't know. But yeah, I wonder who's gonna wear the crown, right? But what are your predictions?
I'm looking at all these people, and I really feel like in an ideal world, it'll be the three. And it'll be kind of cool. They all have different personalities. They could run the company, modernize it, make it a little bit better. I don't think that's what they're going to go for. And it's going to be really unsatisfying if, let's say, the likes of Stewie, or let's say the likes of Mattsson, or even Adrian Brody's character somehow like topples this empire by doing something or pulling out. It's going to be really, I feel, unsatisfying. It depends on how they do it too, though. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be Tom. It might be Tom too. I mean, that's weird, but I don't know. Realistically, I wonder if it's going to really be Logan's brother. I know he doesn't want anything to do with it, but he did show up in a board meeting. He had a stake, so I wonder if that's going to be an option that's going to be floated around. It's really hard to say. It doesn't feel like these people will actually wear the crown. It doesn't feel like it. Like it kind of feels like it's going to be destroyed at this point. I feel like they're going to keep trying, but I don't know. It just depends on how much the writers want to make the ending satisfying. Of course, every writer wants to make the ending, the series finale, satisfying. Right. And I also wonder if we're going to see the crowning in the last episode. I don't know, because this episode just shocked the shit out of me. So, but I don't think we're going to get to that yet. I think we have a long way to go still. I think we have a lot of back and forth. Again, like you said, the lieutenants, I think there's going to be a lot of bickering and stuff like that. A lot of optics that they have to fix and situate. ATN itself, they have to situate. And I think it's also tying loose ends, especially from the series, you know, season 1, 2, 3. They're going to tie some stuff up. And there's going to be a lot of talk of, oh, you owe me this money, or this money is my right to have.
That's right.
Yeah. So that might be, and then of course they're still in debt too. They're like I forgot, like $3 billion in debt or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaotic. But at the end of the day, I really feel like it's going to be something where all these people fought for this, and it's going to collapse. And maybe this is like a life lesson. I don't really know.
Maybe it kind of speaks to Logan in a way. Like he was Waystar. He was 18, right? So it's like, who else could do his job but him, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, you had to be a killer. And I feel like the siblings have some of his qualities, but they're not him, right? They can't be ruthless bastards at the end of the day. They have too much, empathy for each other. So maybe you're right. Maybe it does collapse right after this. I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, great points. Great episode. 10 out of 10 for me. Awesome. I can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings. But yeah, guys, that is our review for episode 3 of Succession season 4. Check out our season 3 episodes 1 and 2 reviews if you haven't already. Check out our other playlists. We have so many reviews out already. We're so busy this month. But Akram, take us away.
Yeah, episode 1 and 2. But yes, yeah. Oh my God, we are so busy, and we have so much coming your way. We have a lot of cool guests that it's going to be pretty surprising to you guys, but just bear with us. We're trying to get into different realms of content creation. And we have plenty of reviews. I think we have a scary movie coming soon that we're going to review finally. Ooh. Again. Yeah, that's going to be really fun. So the summer's coming up. Of course, we're going to have a blog, but that's a little bit later on. We'll keep you guys updated. But thanks again so much.
Akram has a great video essay on the way as well.
And I do have a 28 days, 28 weeks video essay coming soon, guys. So thank you so much for watching. And Dylan, take us away.
As always, guys, thanks for having lunch with us.
And I'll see you guys. Fuck off, by the way.
Fuck off.